claiming to be in Antarctica. Hello, Chris.
Hey guys, I have
Yeah.
a very sad story for you.
Mm-hmm.
On my way out of the place I'm living right now, I've been ticketed 4 times in the past 2 weeks. I had like a trash barrel in my driveway, had like a sink on the side of my house, and then 2 parking tickets. So the first one, I get a ticket in my driveway.
Now, hold on
Parking
a
my own
second. You
driveway.
are not in Antarctica. I don't believe there are driveways or neighborhoods in Antarctica.
Good call, Ian. You caught him.
You would not believe how fascist the penguins are. Can't negotiate with them. You'd think it was the polar bears, but they're so big they don't need to. It's the penguins. They have a complex. But let me just get back to the story. I may or may not confirm or deny what you're saying there. But
well, I sincerely hope you're not claiming that polar bears live in Antarctica. Go ahead.
Antarctica, whatever. I'm no expert. So I get a ticket for parking in my driveway, right? And it's because my truck is sticking out a little onto the sidewalk. That's making me a little. So the next day, I'm too scared to park in my own driveway, so I park on the street. And the same guy gives me a 1-2 combo because my sticker, the sticker on my plate is like, 10 days overdue. So I get a $50 ticket for that. So over the course of 2 weeks, I get like $250 worth of tickets, just one after another. And I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to do here? And I'm thinking of you guys, and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to take this parking guy, and I'm going to film him because I know how much they love that kind of thing. So I'm going to take my camera out, film him, and I'm going to take all this stuff to hearing, but who knows how it's going to go, right? And it was the perfect time for me to see Ian's video of watching this teen parking enforcement woman walk back and forth 18 times.
Yes, the most recent controversial video posted to freekeen.com. It's stirring up quite a bit of controversy. But yeah, I was on the streets of Keene. We were doing some outreach actually for a political campaign, and while I was out there waiting around, I noticed the parking enforcer. So I grabbed my change and my Robin Hooding cards, because here in Keene, for listeners that are new to the show, we have Robin Hooding that happens here, which is sort of a noun that is turned into a pronoun that is turned into a verb, and it describes the act of following a parking enforcer around and putting change in expired meters prior to the enforcer reaching said meter, so therefore preventing the enforcer from writing a ticket. I began doing this on the day in question, and she started acting very erratically once we reached the crosswalk. She would act as though she was going to go ahead and cross, and then quickly turn around and walk back in the opposite direction. Then she would turn around the other way and walk and act as though she was going to cross, all the while holding up traffic, mind you, because in New Hampshire there's some rule that says you have to stop for pedestrians that are at a crosswalk. So the folks had obediently stopped and were awaiting her to actually walk across the street, but she kept just changing directions. She'd like walk 3 or 4 steps out into the street, and then she'd turn right back around as soon as I started following her. And so she was just playing this little game with me. I picked up my video camera at some point after this had happened at that part of the street. I went back to my car, grabbed my camera, and then came back over to where she was to continue Robin Hooding. And she once again started engaging in this turning at 180 degrees and just walking back and forth in a straight line.
What bizarre behavior.
It was very strange, and I called her out on it on camera when she was doing this, and that's what I turned into the video, and I added the Pong sound effects to it and a little turn counter of how many times she had turned around.
But now, aren't people Robin Hooding every day in Keene?
I believe they are.
And
yeah.
aren't they, keeping close tabs on the parking enforcers so that they can?
I don't know, Mark. I think some
so
people
they're just running around putting coins in meters?
I think some people have different approaches to Robin Hooding. I don't agree with those approaches personally, but I understand why they would take them on. And I can't speak for who does this and who doesn't. I know Rich Paul used to do it this way, where they would just go and put coins in expired meters regardless of where the parking enforcer is. And to me, that feels dishonest, because I think that it's not saving anyone. If you're not right in front of the parking enforcer, if you're not imminently where you know they are going to be to write a ticket, then you aren't actually saving anyone from a ticket. So that's why I continue to follow the enforcer. So I don't know how often that happens in downtown these days, Mark. But Chris, you were referring to that video, and you said it inspired you?
Well, it was in two ways. So I love the video. It's quite inspirational. And you were doing a commendable job of actually keeping up with all of these crazy moves. And I love that she even picked up a wingman at some point.
Yeah.
Who tried to berate you unsuccessfully.
Yeah, there was some college girl who came up and gave me a piece of her mind and took the side of the parking enforcer in the video. But
unfortunately, as inspirational as that was, it de-inspired me as well, because I've met you, Ian. You're a fit guy, but even you were picking up a little bit of a breath at some point, trying to outmaneuver this.
Yeah,
woman.
you were huffing.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I probably carry around 4 or 5 Ians with me. So I was thinking that if I were to make such a video, mine would be about 20 times worse.
All right, stand by. I want to hear the rest of the story here, because you've been inspired, but not really. We'll find out the rest here in moments. It's Free Talk Live. We go back to Chris. He's calling from Antarctica, or so he claims. He says also that wherever it is that he actually lives, there's apparently some pretty heavy parking enforcement officers that are actually enforcing parking laws at your house. So you got in trouble, Chris, for parking in your own driveway. Because apparently your car was jutting out slightly into the sidewalk area. You were ticketed for that. You then
unlawful jutting?
You parked the car in the street after that and were ticketed for something about that. Is that correct?
Yes. It was a 1-2 combo. I got hit with a 10-day expired parking registration sticker.
Okay.
By the people who don't even do the registration. So they were just offended by the fact that I was late, even though that money wouldn't actually go to them.
Police officers.
Found a way to get it anyway.
I don't think police departments do the registration either, but they certainly get the revenue for the ticket. So it's hard to say where it goes. But I've always
not all police departments get revenue from the tickets they write here in Keene and in New Hampshire. Local.
This may be the only state in the.
Yeah, I don't know. Right. You can't speak about something as though you know it's true for where that person lives. So be careful when you do that. In New Hampshire, that's not the case. The local police, and I think this is the reason why local police write a lot of warnings rather than tickets, because they don't directly benefit in New Hampshire from writing tickets. The state police, I think, might, but the local boys, I don't think.
Yeah, if I can't make generalizations as a talk show host listened to internationally, the wheels are going to fall off of talk radio. If I have to put a caveat on everything I said.
Caveat. This may not be the case in your area, but in some areas.
Here's my caveat. From now and all the way into the future, whenever I make a statement, it isn't true for everything, everywhere, every time. It's simply generally true in my estimation.
And you're also not giving legal advice.
That's right. So, I wonder about car registration. It really seems kind of weird to me. If you're going to have numbers for the car, why do those, like the license plate, right? Like, I can understand why you'd want a license plate for cars, because if it's driving away from a bank robbery, you want to be able to say, yes, it's the car with this license plate on it. However, why do you need a new sticker every year on that car?
Revenue.
That's what it's all about, is it's revenue, revenue, revenue.
So I want to hear the rest of Chris's story. So, Chris, you said you were partially inspired to record video of this parking enforcer, but then also you have some weight issues, and so you weren't really feeling like it. What happened?
Yeah, so, I was going to follow this guy around, see him, ask him some probing questions. Then I'm thinking, man, if Ian is huffing and puffing, I would be even worse. And then the saddest part of this all, or maybe the happiest, is that all of my brutalist fantasies, crumbled in front of me. All those thoughts of, all the guns I have, all the running around the woods, all the state's going to, come get us, and I'll be ready. That's all,
You couldn't pull out your cell phone and take some video of this guy. You realized what a chicken you are. Yes, I got it, man.
Yeah,
I know what this is.
It's a very sad thing. If there's even a thought about pulling out a camera and doing something, then what? How can any brutalist actually say that they're really gonna go at it if it comes down to it? Like if all of the failures.
What is a brutalist?
To these people I would say the brutalists are the people who are maybe even looking forward to the showdown between the state and the citizens who are going to rise up to defend themselves against it. Have any sort of good outcome.
Was it physical exhaustion or fear of exhaustion that kept you from video recording, or was there something else at work?
No, it was actually the thought of embarrassment. So it was if I completely would have pulled it off, but it probably would have looked bad.
You mean you feel like you would be embarrassed in that some of your friends or family might see it and think negatively of you?
Kind of. So the YouTube mafia comment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so if you put something on there, and just the whole thing about that. I actually.
You don't actually have to.
On YouTube for,
go ahead.
Yep. Go ahead.
You don't actually have to put it on YouTube.
Yeah, that's true too. But who would see it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it would depend on how important it was.
Well, okay, so for instance, let me give you an example. If you just pull out a video camera with the police or parking enforcer or whoever, whichever government bureaucrat we're talking about here, it could be in a government office or any government bureaucrat. If you pull out a video camera, sometimes they will change their behavior. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they'll change their behavior for the better, and they will behave well, and the video footage isn't really particularly interesting as a result of that. Or sometimes they'll behave worse and get more ridiculous, and then the video footage is worth uploading to YouTube. So, for instance, had I recorded the video of this parking enforcer last week, and had she just simply ignored me and continued walking in the direction she'd originally intended to walk rather than changing direction 18 times in 2 minutes and acting very ridiculous, then it really wouldn't have been that interesting of a video. I probably wouldn't have uploaded it. I certainly wouldn't have uploaded it to the Free Keen channel. Maybe I would have uploaded it as raw video to Freeman TV Raw, which is sort of this dumping grounds for all kinds of unedited raw video that no one ever really watches, with a few exceptions. So, yeah, I mean, if you pull a video camera out, it's a game changer in a lot of cases, and sometimes for the better, to where, oh, okay, well, that wasn't so bad. He was going to write a ticket, but then he ran away. So, it would have been a success. You never know what happens until you actually try it.
I feel like I've been where Chris is, too, where I've been afraid to take video when I wanted to,
really?
Because I was afraid in the moment.
Was this like a long time ago? Because, I mean, if anybody's not afraid of video recording, it's you.
Yeah, I've broken that habit, but, in the early days, I would be nervous that people around me would judge me. That
Are you talking about when you were in Philly or when you were here in Keene?
Both. When I was in my early days as an activist, I remember one time in D.C. when I was walking around with a video camera and highlighting some raw milk activism, and I was feeling embarrassed that there were people looking at me, walking around with a video camera, judging me, and you have to say, Chris, like, forget those people. You're doing this for you, and as long as you stay calm and you're polite, there's very little to attack.
Thanks for the call, Chris. Appreciate your story. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
I feel strong. I feel a strong feeling in that way, too. I mean, it's a lot of social pressure just to shut up, sit there, do whatever you're supposed to do, citizen, until I'm done being a petty little tyrant.
Well, plus the people that are around you also don't understand video recording, many of them, and they'll get upset. Derek J., you were attacked recently by a couple of locals over your habit of recording things.
Yeah.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.